So in this video we're going to continue on the content of the last video. It was part 2 where we did sort of the basic editing. If you haven't watched that video, watch that video first. In this video we're going to get into the audio levels and we're going to see how we can integrate some music with time lapses. One thing that you need to be really aware of is when you're editing the videos is the audio that you're listening to. Because in a video, audio might be even more important than video. Because if a video is a little bit blurry, you can still follow along in the story. But if you cannot, as a viewer, hear the audio correctly, the viewer loses connection with the video very fast. What you need for editing is preferably a headset or some very good computer speakers. Otherwise you won't get a good feeling of what some viewers will experience in the audio. So televisions, they level the audio out. So you won't have any big problems with that. But if you have people with a big Dolby surround system or people that are always listening with a headset, they notice a lot more in the audio quality. So like I said, in this video we're going to continue on the content of the last video where we already set all the audio levels for the clips to plus 7 decibel. And this is because in my videos I think it's important to hear background sounds, like footsteps in the forest or stuff happening in the distance or stuff like that. And I record my audio with a microphone, and a microphone doesn't amplify by itself. So I always, depending on the microphone, I up the audio volume. So when you play a clip, you see here on the right, you see the audio levels, this bar. So in this case you see that my sending ends up between -6 and -12 dB. And for talking and background noise this is all fine. But I always like to have my building sounds a little bit less intrusive. But also one thing is that it needs to fit with the former clip. So here you hear the scaffolding pretty well. And here you feel already that the audio has a different audio level. So that is too low. This is kind of okay. It's less difference with the former clip. And it's hitting now -12 dB. If it's very repetitive, if the building sounds take a long time, during different clips, I used to usually do them a little bit lower so it doesn't annoy viewers. In this case it's the start of a time lapse. And in the time lapse we're going to use music, so we're going to start the music already in this clip where I start sending. Now for music I use Epidemic Sound. And we're gonna quickly scroll through my library so I can have some samples for you. Let's see what we have here. So this is all very quiet. We want a little bit more upbeat music for the working scenes. And this music track basically has a very long intro, and here only starts with sort of the upbeat that I want to use, but I think this clip is a little bit too low, too, how you say, not active enough. This could work. Yeah, so this is a completely different kind of music, but it could also work. There's sort of an upbeat here. What can start the music? Let's see if we can find something what I know is a little bit more obvious. So this is a really upbeat tune. I'm gonna download that to my folder. Then I'm gonna open the Media Explorer and add my audio track from that folder. It ends up in the bottom. And then the second track below the video track is always an audio track. You can see that here in the beginning, video track, audio track. You can add as many tracks as you want. I always by default play the music at least -11 dB. So now we need to find this upbeat again. So I can temporarily disable the sanding so we can hear the music. And that is where the upbeat starts. So what I normally do is, we need to see that we get this upbeat exactly aligned with the start of the speed clip. So what I normally do is I cut it, and then I draw it exactly under the speed clip, so it gets this line where it says that it's aligned. And then sometimes I'm having problems. If I did now place this back against it, sometimes you get like a crack or something. So normally I remove this, delete, and then I just enlarge this clip back to where it was. And now this clip already fades in by itself quite nicely. So I don't think we have to put a fade on that. But now we need to see that it mixes up with the sanding. Let's see. So I'm going to fade the sanding out. You can do this here with the audio fade out on every clip. So let's see how it goes when I start it, the fade out when the music starts. Okay, that blends in pretty well. The thing is, here we're already sanding, and the beginning of the speed clip is of course me putting the camera first, so I need to get back up there. In this case I'm moving the light also a little, so I want to go back to the moment that I'm actually with the sander on the beam. So that's over here. So I make this clip smaller, until there. I could have also cut it, but you can also drag it. So I'm here, I'm like sanding. And then I'm basically in the same place, and then the story continues. The audio could be a little lower, I think. Now it's at -12 dB. For audio that's more than enough. Now it is quite of an active song, so it can play also a little bit louder. Now, the only reason that I get off the scaffolding here is to move the camera. So here I'm with the sander again on the beam. So that's where we left off, so we make this clip smaller. And also we remove the last part of this clip. So we take the last frame where I'm still with the sander on the beam. And then we also make that smaller. So that flows nicely. To my feeling here, the clip already takes a little bit too long. Here I went to get a new battery, so that's... You can keep that in there because we don't want a jump cut. Basically, if you cut it here and then cut it here again, you get sort of a strange jump in the shot, and I don't like that. So here the upbeat from the music disappears again, and we get like a quiet moment in the song. So this feels always a little bit strange to me. I think actually maybe we should try and end the whole speed clip here. So that this part, that last part of this music ends up in this frame. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, it takes a long time before the beat comes back, so because I was already like feeling a little bit of a drag here, or that it takes too long, I'm gonna speed up the speed clips even more. And then you select the clip, and you go to speed, show speed control. You can also do it here on the side. You can increase the speed of the clip. I always like to do it on the timeline. You get this little drag thingy here on the right, and then you can see in the middle here how much it's increased. So now it's 1.14 times. So mostly in the next step I would at least do 1.5. And then basically all the clips need to go in the sort of the same speed. You can vary it a little if needed, but it needs to look to the viewer as if it is all in the same speed. Maybe I can show you a reason later why you would want different speeds. Now it actually, with 150, it ends up exactly on the end of this music. So I always leave it then in the next clip a little bit, or if it has a really rough cut off in the music, then also I do sometimes like I cut it directly at the end. But this is like sort of advanced. So normally you would like blend it over a little bit in the next clip so that it feels natural that the music ends. So we would fade it out, the sound again a little, and see how it feels. So in music that feels good, but I see that this last part of this clip, there's a little bit of garbage here where I'm like picking up the camera. So we don't want that. So then we go back to the last shot, maybe here where I'm left the screen, left the scene. Because the next clip is me not on the scaffolding. So then we make it smaller. Don't confuse it with decreasing the speed, increasing the speed. That's this one. The other one here is to make the clip smaller. But now you see that we don't end exactly on the end of the beat. Oh, maybe still. No, I want to have it end a little bit later. So what you then can do is, like, this is 150 speed. You can just then increase the speed, decrease the speed, so that it ends up exactly where sort of the beat ends. Like a little bit of difference with the other clips, it's the viewer doesn't notice. I like to end it on the woo. This is also a feeling you need to get of like working with clips and working with music. That feels better. You can also fade this one in. In this case it didn't really feel needed, but sometimes it's nice to fade the other one in again. My shoulders are burning. And this video has quite some speed clips, I think. So what happens in general when other clips are being edited is that I check this meter here on the right if the volume is not too high, because it can never be against the zero. This means the audio is going to clip, you're going to get cracking. And we want speech mostly between -6 and -12 dB. So then I go through the video, like this clip for instance only has background noise. But we want to hear like the thing clicking, so this is a good volume. My shoulders are burning. And this one it sort of ends up like a little bit above 6 dB. My shoulders are burning. But that's not a problem. It's like, if it's up or against -6 dB, it's fine. Then you hear the coffee machine. This is a little bit loud, but it's coffee, it's important. Then I sit down here. And this is all still on +7 dB because we set it to that volume. If it now would be on 0, you would hear a lot less of the background sound, like me sitting down or picking up the cup. And I like these kinds of sounds, so I want to keep them in. So then we go to a talking part.
Yeah, so this works the
Talking parts should not be lower than minus 12 dB.
best, the band sound.
And you can see already here in the timeline that, for instance, here it's a little bit lower than over here.
This thing is already like 20 years old, I think.
But it's still
It's not been used that much, but
fully in the range. If I'm sitting talking like this, the audio is mostly all on the same level.
With this one,
It could be a little bit higher here, but it's still hitting minus 12 dB.
buy a new one at some point. But for now I'm doing it with this one. And they're both like...
If this is not the case, then I just cut the clip just before the low part or the high part. And just after.
Same kind of heavy.
And then I just increase or decrease the audio there a little.
Same kind of heavy.
Sometimes with the mouse it's a little bit like fiddly. What you can also do is here on the right you can like type exactly what you want, like plus 12 dB for instance.
Like the same kind of heavy, only the band sound goes a lot faster.
So now it's a little bit more volume, and now it also matches more with this. It's like almost exactly the same volume, although that I like talk a little bit less loud. But you need to see in my video if it's like really hitting below minus 12, then you need to do this. Or if it's really hitting above minus 6.
Same kind of heavy, only the band.
Now I see I already for this video increased some clips in audio also. Because here you can see this one is now on plus 20 dB. So here there was a reason to increase the audio. No, because I'm talking there, but my face is not in front of the camera. So then I always get very low audio. But we do want to try and keep these parts in the video and hear what I'm saying. If you can't get my audio clear, then you should consider cutting that part, because it's very annoying for people if they can't hear certain things being said.
Go for a walk.
Yeah, so this is just acceptable. If it was any worse, then the clip would have needed to be cut, because you cannot increase more than 20 dB. And also at that point you get like the white noise in the background. Like a sort of a hum. So this is again 7 dB, 7 dB. So this is all fine. Mostly my dog walks are higher volume, because there I don't use a microphone. I use my other iPhone. And the iPhone sort of boosts the microphone volume. So mostly if I have clips, sometimes 7 dB plus 7 dB is too much for these dog walk clips. It's not only dog walks, sometimes I do other clips with my other phone. You just have to see. But here in this case you hear nice my footsteps, like this is sounds I really like to keep for the video. Gives sort of a serene, peaceful feeling. So in this case these clips can all remain on 7 dB. Then we go into the next time lapse. So what I always want to do is I want to use the same sort of music if it's like the same sort of activity. So in this case we still have a part of the song that we downloaded before that we didn't use. Because I presume that after the break in this music that we had, like here, that at some point it goes up again. Here it's building up, I think. So there we have another upbeat, right? It goes to a lot higher beat. So you need to cut it exactly on that beat. Then move that exactly under the time lapse. And then we increase a little bit of the part of the track before that beat. It's a sort of, it feels like an intro, it's building up again. Oh, let's turn this off for a minute. You feel how nice that feels, that the beat is on the clip? To me that feels very good. Okay, now let's bring back the volume of the sanding. So this is already on minus 1.5 because otherwise the sanding is too loud. What I sometimes do is when the sander turns on, I turn on the music. That's kind of fun to do. Or sometimes like I end the music if I turn off a light button or something. Like after that I've been working, maybe I turn off the light and then the music stops when I turn off the light button or something like that. In this case it works kind of well. You hear that? It could start a little bit sooner and then we give it a little bit of audio fade in. It's like there's music in the sander. And then we fade the sanding out. It can fade out a little bit faster. This is just about acceptable. If the clip was any longer, we needed to make this first sanding clip a little bit smaller. In this case, it's kind of still okay. Here I move the scaffolding, so that's also part of the work that you can keep in there. You need to see the difference between me moving a camera and in this case I also move the camera, but I also move the scaffolding. So in this case it can be in there because I would be getting down here to move the scaffolding. Yes, and then this clip maybe should start here because it's not very logical that I'm going up there and back down. There's still a little bit of me being up there. Basically we want it on the point then when I move the scaffolding. And getting back up there, and that flows nicely. Only the whole clip is taking a little bit too long. And that is a little bit sad because this ends pretty nicely, but we cannot have the speed clips this long. So that's a shame because this ends exactly how we want it to end. So in this case, we need to choose, and in this case, you don't want to bore the viewers. So that's, in my opinion, more important than ending the music in a nice way. So what I would do is I would increase the speed of these two speed clips again with like 150. Then see where we end up with the music. So that would also be a good point to end it. So let's see how that looks if we decrease the speed a little bit. So we don't want too much then after that, but maybe we can make this work with sort of a fade out. Also this clip should be a little bit shorter. We don't want people to wait too long before I come in with my hamburgers. So let's see how this feels. So the beat is a little bit before we switch the clip. it's actually here. So we need to go a little bit back. Yeah, and this feels a little bit sudden. So what I then sometimes do is I fade also part of this speed clip. I fade the audio out a bit so that people know that there's an end coming. Yeah, that feels better than the small fade out, I think. As people get like on the end of the speed clip, they get a little bit the idea already that it's gonna end and that there's gonna come something else. And the music ends on me putting the plate down, so that's also, it's not so obvious, but it's kind of cool. And I'm gonna talk a bit.
Finish descending today. Probably gonna be an illusion.
So it's between -12 and -6, so that's good. Then you hear some background noise, not a lot. Put the plate down.
I'm gonna need some coffee, otherwise
Then we go through the footage and see if all the audio is...
I need some coffee, otherwise we're definitely not gonna make it.
That could be a little bit higher, so I think if I grab it here, it might go too far. Look, it goes to 15 and we don't want that. We want it maybe on a little bit higher, like 10.
I'm gonna need some coffee, otherwise we're definitely not gonna make it.
And then it ends up between -6 and -12. That's perfect. Here I'm zooming the shot out, so that needs to go. Here I'm coming into the frame, so we take a little bit before I enter the frame. That's always nice if you start a new scene, that I come walking into the frame. And I'm gonna see that this audio is already too high here with the working. So then you can choose to either decrease the whole clip in audio and then see if the first part is still... It's a little bit low on audio because you don't really hear me walking into the scene. So I would maybe just before the sender starts, keep that part of the audio at, like, what had we, 7? Then you also hear my moves. And then the sender is just a little bit lower. And like before, if there would be more sanding sound now, I would keep the sanding even a little bit lower than this. But because we're going to go into a time lapse, it's not going to be that annoying to viewers. This is going to be like quite a big time lapse, I see. And we didn't have so much of this song anymore, so we need to find another song. But the song needs to match a little bit with how this song sounds. It shouldn't be too different. So Epidemic has an option for this also. What song were we doing? World to Know. Where is it? Where is that song? Oh, now it went back to the top, of course, today. Okay. This has a button here, find similar. And sometimes this works and sometimes not. By default it takes part of the song, so I first mostly feel if like this has the same kind of vibe. This is maybe a little bit too housey. This sounds kind of cool. But what you can also do, maybe we download this one and see if we're going to use that. What you also can do is like enlarge this here to include the whole song, and then it searches songs that are similar to the whole song. And it also starts playing at the yellow part, and I always want to hear like what the first part sounds like. Could be. You can see that like this song doesn't have an opening beat. It's directly, there's no upbeat. Instead of this has an upbeat here. So just as a sample, let's use the other song that we just downloaded. I'm gonna add it to our media library again. And like I said, for these kind of clips, we want a little bit a more active song. So there is somewhere an upbeat here. Yeah, there it is. But this is very gradual. It's not very different. The intro is not very distinguished. Now here is also a flatter part in the music. I think we were listening to this before. This has a little bit more of a clear cut where the beat is jumping. Right there. So I'm going to cut it there again. The first part we remove. Then we move it to the beginning of the time lapse. Then we go back to see what was this shot. Starting off the sending, and we take a little bit more. And probably we're going to fade it in a little, and then we're going to probably fade this out. And then we just listen what we got. Perfect. Now, except for that, here I'm sending, and here I'm doing other stuff. So preferably we go directly to the sending. Remove that first part. So I'm standing exactly at the right place. You're only viewing me from a different angle. Now, looking by the size of the speed clip, we already know that this is going to take way too long. So you can only show the speed increase thingy per clip. So you need to do it for every clip separate. And then we can we start increasing them by 150, like somewhat near 150. And then we're going to see what we got. Let's see how long this is going to take. Also, if a lot happens and you see a lot of change, then maybe the clip can take a little longer. If I'm just like standing in one place and not much is happening, then it gets boring for people. Here I'm getting another battery probably. No, I'm just take a very long time to change the camera. So we are basically still working on the same thing. Only if you have attention to detail, you see I use a different sender. But this wouldn't really be a problem for you as an editor. You just take the part here where it's still being sanded, remove this whole part, and then take the sanding from here, and then it would be fine. I'm a little bit in a different place, but that's okay. In my case, because I noticed that it's a different sender, I'm gonna just like take a little bit of me going down, so it's clear that I'm leaving off the scaffolding. In the next clip I'm positioning the camera first, so we want to get that out, but the rest should be able to stay in because I need to go up the scaffolding again. So the viewers that are paying attention saw maybe that I changed the sender, but others maybe think that I changed position or something. So that's okay. As long as it doesn't feel weird. As long as it flows. That's also quite funny that I move it over the camera. So that can stay. I'm getting back up the scaffolding. I think I might have cut this clip also a little bit already. I'm not sure. So yeah, I've moved the scaffolding so I got down and back up. But all in all, it's dragging a bit, like how I would call it. So I think we're gonna go to at least everything in 2-speed. And mostly after 2-speed it gets a little bit, the video gets a little bit blurry maybe, and it's not really nice to watch it. So we need to decide what we want. Yeah, so this could be already a little bit faster, even more. So we try 250 and see if it doesn't look strange. It's still good enough. It's just about acceptable in length. Yeah, so this also needs to go to 250. Then this probably also needs to go to 250. That it all moves along a little bit faster, because you don't want to, you know that I'm sanding this beam. There's not that big of a difference, like I'm building a wall or something. So it doesn't need to get boring for the viewers. So in this case I increase it like with a lot. But it's also a lot of repetitive, the same work. The angles make it, the different angles that I take make it a little bit more enjoyable. If this was all from one angle, the clip wouldn't even make it to the edit, because it would have been too boring. With the different angles I try to make it a little bit interesting for the viewer. Now, and then we end up somewhere in the middle of this clip. But the sender also stops here. So maybe we can make it work that where the sender stops, the music stops. So we cut it where the sender is off. And then maybe try and fade out with the sender that is fading out by itself. So I would like to have this sender sound a little bit lower. So I cut the clip because I want to keep this sound, me putting the sender down. And you don't notice the difference in when the clip goes to the other one. Sometimes you hear it. In this case it's fine. So how does that sound? I think we need a little bit more fade out again, so that viewers have the idea that the clip is ending. Yeah, this feels a little bit weird here, this. It's maybe the best we're gonna get it. Let's see what happens when we do Belgium fade out. What means no fade out. I don't know, something feels weird here. Oh, the camera is still moving here. Okay, that's what feels weird. Okay, so we take it from the moment. We could take it from this point, because here is like where I'm turning it off. But if you're not sure, just take it from here. If we then do the same thing, maybe it feels better. increase the music and we take this fade out. We fade it out as the sender is fading out. Yeah. So there was this the last couple of frames of this scene that made it feel weird. So sometimes it's a small thing. So you could do that, but you could also maybe try a Belgium fade out. Sometimes this is nice. This could also work. But I like the other one better, so I'm going to put that back. Then let's see. We have another couple of clips here with some sanding, and it is for sanding, like work sounds -6 is really too high. So we want to make it a little bit lower. You need to hear like that it's not annoying like compared to the talking parts. So let's do this one at -5. This is a little bit too low. It doesn't feel real. It feels like the volume is taken down a lot. This also. Yeah, a little bit more volume feels better here. And then we go into the next clip. The volume is a little bit lower there, it feels good. And then we end the sanding already, so yeah, that's not too annoying sounds. Maybe this first clip could be a little bit smaller. Yeah, and then we come to the end of the video.
Kind of wishing that I bought another man sander, belt sander. This one also needs quite some sanding.
Talking is in between -6, -12, it's perfect.
Well, hopefully tomorrow we have another day.
Reaching 6, that's fine. You still hear me even walking away a little bit, so that's all great sound. This is also with the 7 dB. I put it on. Most of the clips are at the correct sound, but you do have to go through all of them to make sure. Because yeah, when audio is clipping, it's reaching 0 dB. It can be really annoying for listeners. Yeah. Here is a strange pop. I probably hit the camera with my hand. It's not the best sound to have in there. If you have like people with a headset or like a Dolby surround system, that's can really be annoying. So I cut it a little bit in front of that. Maybe we can even take it out. We only take this pop out because it's already dark, the screen, so it might not noticeable that we skip some frames. That's absolutely not noticeable. Well, if you know it, then you see it. Maybe this whole clip could also be a little bit lower with the door closing. Maybe back to 0 or something. I said 0. That's with the mouse sometimes, and you think it's on 0, but it's not. Okay, now it's still loud, but it doesn't reach 0, so that's perfect. And in this clip we also want to hear my footsteps. Opening the gate. Yeah, and that concludes this part of learning how to edit one of the Ghost Town vlog videos. So I hope that made a little bit of sense for you guys. In the description I have again, like in the last video, the footage from this video for you to download. And for you to challenge again to not watch this video again and try to edit the footage like I did. If you get it done, send me a link with your video. In one of the next videos we'll get more into a little bit more advanced stuff.